Hi everyone, it's Brett here from Metropole. If you're looking to buy a property or invest into the Brisbane property market, I've got 5 things today that I'm going to talk about that could really benefit you, so stay tuned. The first thing is it's really important to understand where all the jobs are being created. If you follow the equation, with more jobs there's going to be more demand for property in those general areas, and if there's a lack of supply, it's going to increase the chance of you getting growth in your property. So we're not just talking about little projects like hospitals and universities and things like that. We're talking about big full-scale projects creating hundreds and hundreds of thousands of jobs. And in Brisbane at the moment, that's all happening around that 0 to 5 kilometre ring. So it's really crucial you understand that, because that's where the majority of housing is going to be in the most demand. Once people have bought a house or acquired a house and are living close in that type of location, they're generally young professional couples as well. So the next thing to look for are the good schools. Once people have a job and they've got their accommodation sorted, they're going to want to look after their family, and a school is a really important part of that. So don't be afraid to research and get a handle on the good school catchments around Brisbane. Just because you're buying in a particular suburb, it doesn't mean you're automatically in the catchment. There's a really important distinguishment there. You could be one house away, one street away from the catchment, and it could mean an extra $50,000 to $100,000 over the next 5 or 10 years. So it may pay to do a bit of research there. One of the big trends we're seeing over the last 5 years is that people aren't moving further and further out anymore. It was a trend a long, long time ago, and you probably could have done well if you'd bought property anywhere 20 or 30 years ago, but the trend is now moving in and around the city. The younger generation are trading the big backyards for balconies and small courtyards, and the older generation, the retirees, they're not doing a sea change or a tree change as first thought. Most people are actually staying put with their doctors, their dentists, and all those types of things. So make sure you're buying in the right location. Next up, number 4, make sure you've got an area with good public transport. Brisbane's been very proactive over the last 10 years. We've built a number of tunnels, but those benefits are coming to an end. So it's very critical you're buying in areas where there's either public transport now or there's future public transport predicted and being constructed. Inside of that 10-kilometre ring, you've probably got an 80% chance of having some form of public transport. Once you start to get past 15 or 20 kilometres, it probably drops to about 20%. So you've got to get that balance right. And the last thing is, most people would know that Brisbane floods. I think everybody knows that, and people moving here, it is a great concern, but it's also stormwater and runoff. That's very important as well. I think it's a very underrated aspect, because as you start to get away from the flooded areas, you can still be affected by stormwater and runoff, and that could cause damage to your property, and also being an unnecessary area, an unnecessary risk that you have to worry about. So make sure you do your checks. So there you go, guys. 5 things. Find out where the jobs are, buy in a good school catchment, don't move further out, come closer to the city. Public transport is a must, and finally, allow for flooding and stormwater. Hope that got something out of that today. If you are looking to buy in Brisbane, I'll put another 5 tips up next week. Thanks for listening.